like a Hellcat.
Before we get started, I have a favor. If you enjoy my content and want to see me continue to improve in both quality and size, please check out my Patreon linked in the description. Any amount helps and it is greatly appreciated. There are so many rewards for each level of donation, so go check it out. Now back to the video. Hey guys, this is Untitled Avenger and welcome to Reworking Rainbow. Shields are an interesting and sometimes frustrating mechanic in Siege. On one hand, the user of the shield is both highly resistant to damage, but also highly vulnerable, since they only have a sidearm and must lower their shield to ADS. On the other hand, the shield carrier's opponent has to get close or hold an angle and hope for the best if they wish to get through the carrier's shield. Of all the suggestions for changes and reworks, and even the changes that Ubisoft has put out themselves, don't really address the issue. So in today's video, I want to take a few wild stabs at the issue. Without any further ado, welcome to Reworking Rainbow. In this video I want to address all shields, including Blackbeard and Clash, but excluding Fuse since his shield is more of a loadout shield. However, I do have a general change to shields I would like to introduce, with the exception of Blackbeard. This would make DMRs fired at about 10 meters away or less from the shield, in this case with Clash and now Oryx, would stagger the carrier. And shotguns would provide the same effect, but from 6 meters away, with the exception of the Boss G, which has the same range as the DMR. With this, I attempt to give the carrier's opponent more ability to get around the shield without having to get close in melee, or use grenades and explosives, which can have varying effects and will waste utility. For the first operator, I want to look at one of the oddballs of this video, Blackbeard. Before I talk about him, I want to clarify. My 3 different ideas aren't actually my own ideas. Instead, they're from the Logic Bomb podcast hosted by Get Flanked. I'm including them in this video because Blackbeard sort of fits the theme, but I couldn't come up with anything myself. These 3 reworks are mutually exclusive, each entirely changing his gadget, but hopefully keeping his identity. First idea is called Crow's Nest, in keeping with the theme of being a pirate. This will make him an intel operator working like an attacker Valkyrie. With this, he equips a launcher with 2 or 3 shots. These shots are bulletproof cameras that can pierce through soft walls, floors, and doors. It can be incredibly useful on maps where the reinforcement doesn't reach all the way to the ceiling. After being fired, they would work mostly the same as a bulletproof camera, and require an impact grenade to destroy from the bulletproof side, or require a defender to leave the site and break it from the back. Of course, since they are cameras, they would be affected by mute jammers, but at the top reinforcements, they should be mostly safe. The second option is least likely in my opinion, but I still like it. Called a peripheral shield, it would work like his current rifle shield with the exception of instead of being in front of him, it would be to the sides of his head. This would make it more protective from people holding angles waiting for enemies to round the corner. It's kind of a weird and impractical idea, but since Siege rewards headshot accuracy, Blackbeard being able to entirely negate the reward in a head-to-head fight feels a bit unfair and broken and therefore must be addressed. The third and final suggestion is called Window Panel. This works like Mirror's Black Mirror, except on attack. This must be placed in a window or a doorway that can be barricaded or not. If it is barricaded, the window panel will only break the area that it takes up. It can be placed at the top or bottom of a door or window, but if it is placed at the bottom of a door, it will require a vault to get over. I think if it has the one-way mirror aspect that the Black Mirror has, it could work really well. This version of his gadget would still provide a shield that can play into both he and his allies being able to hold angles, with little risk to themselves. Of course you can't shoot through it, you would have to peek over it, but if it's a one-way mirror, you'd be safe and no one would know where you were, or if anyone was even on the window in the first place. Once placed, they can be removed by Blackbeard or destroyed by an enemy explosive. Both this suggestion and Crow's Nest would make Blackbeard a lot more team utility focused than he currently is, and I think that would work to balance the character really well. The next operator is another oddball, since he doesn't currently have a shield, but when he was leaked I sort of assumed that he was going to have a shield based off of his ability description. I want to give Oryx the option of a shield for his primary weapon. This would also change the function of his ability while he carries it. While equipped, bashing a softwall won't damage Oryx or reset his charges. In addition, he can deal minor damage to enemies he hits. As a trade-off, he'll be a 1.5 speed instead of a 2 speed while holding it, and have a slower dash by about 10-15%, but with the same travel distance overall. The charges may also have to refill slower to compensate for the lack of damage taken or the reset after hitting a wall. This sounds like it could be easily abused by only using the shield when bashing and having the sidearm equipped while not bashing. The speed up to recharge and movement speed, but I have thought of a safeguard. His recharge, movement speed, and dash speed will all remain the same whether he has the shield or sidearm equipped. The only thing exclusive to the shield while it's in hand is immunity to soft wall debuffs and the damage he deals to bashed players. Having the shield in the loadout provides the aforementioned passives regardless. But if he does not have the shield at all, he would work in the same way he currently does. I want to make this change because I feel like Oryx could use more options within his playstyle. This option would trade off damage from his primary weapon and the overall movement speed for instead more durability and survivability. Up next is Clash. I want to give her a reason to have to lower her shield because its function is depleted, but not by reducing its resource. Instead of having a resource meter, the shield will work on charges similar to Yokai or Twitch's drone, where it holds a max of 3 charges that once fired and hit, possibly with a lot more range than it currently has, will deal normal shock effects for 4 seconds. Hitting the same person with multiple charges will only reset the timer instead of stacking the duration. Charges will take about 10 seconds to refill. This should in theory give her less uptime to inexperienced players, but make her quite useful in sort of a ranged barbed wire for skilled players. Now for Blitz. This may be a bit controversial, but with him I wanted to make him a bit stronger, but as a caveat require a lot more planning and thought before rushing into a fight. My suggestion will give him a secondary option for his gadget, which he can switch between like Zofia with her gadget. I want to give him a bash similar to Oryx. Like Oryx, it would be on a charge, which would take longer to recharge and have more downtime between charges since Blitz isn't a brute like Oryx. It will have a max of 3 charges that he can use to bash through softballs, barricades, and even into players, all also like Oryx. The main reason I suggest this is because the shield bashing through a wall is on the cover of the game itself, but I also think he needs a buff that affects something besides his flash, and the general changes I suggested for shields, I think this would really help to balance Blitz. With this addition, a reduction to the flash charges may be required, or even putting them on a cooldown instead of a charge meter. Up next is Montang, and with him, I have 2 suggestions that could either be mutually exclusive or work together, to both make him more counterable as well as more useful. The first change is adding durability to the extended version of his shield. Of course, the durability would be really high, like several hundred health. Explosives will be the only thing that does damage to it, and maybe melees too, and Oryx's Rima dash. Explosives will no longer deal damage through the shield with the exception of C4, which remains the same. In addition, Oryx will only require 3 hits in order to entirely break it. On top of other explosives, Monty will have to be very careful and very thoughtful about extending his shield to conserve its lifetime. The next change is the secondary ability gained when his shield is extended. Called Breach, he can ram his shield forward while himself standing stationary, which can knock back but not down enemies, and breach barricades but not soft walls. This is aimed to give him a functionality outside of protecting his team, making him a very, very soft breacher, opening up room for the rest of his team to be more effective with their use of utility. Overall, I think these suggestions are interesting. Not sure the balance of any of them, but I do think that they are cool suggestions. Whether or not that they would actually work in a real situation, who knows. My favorites are the Oryx change and the Blitz change. I would really like to see both of those. The rest of them I kind of just shot in the dark, especially the Blackbeard, since none of those suggestions are my own. Overall, what do you guys think? Feel free to tell me if you think that these will ever even be considered by the Siege team at Ubisoft, or if you think that they're all entirely stupid. As always, thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Follow me on my socials to keep it active on the channel. Come on Discord, join the conversation, come on Patreon if you feel like supporting me. It's Untitled Avenger. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Peace out.